Alright, welcome back everyone to my PGP Week 3 game against Mustang from the PICHU League, I believe, yeah, PICHU. I'm representing Trickhouse, and I believe I was the third game in the week, but yeah, I just wanted to cover my game. I'm going to say it up front, I originally meant to livecom this game, but I just totally forgot to do it, because I just wanted to get the battle over with on Saturday. So I'm just going to be kind of post-con narrating, but I'll still kind of cover the matchup briefly and what my build was. But yeah, you can see the teams on the screen. My team is on the left, Mustang's team was on the right. And we kind of a little bit of a mirror matchup here with our first two mons, Terra Annihilate and Greninja. Obviously both very good. I've used this core as well in the DPL, and I very much enjoyed it. It was probably one of our more successful cores that we had. But on that we also had like Highjumpsean Arcanine, along with Thunderous T. I believe we did have Thunderous T. Yeah, I think. But yeah, I retained the Thunderous T, but since we can only have one Terra Captain, I made Annihilate the Terra Captain, and I still think Thunderous T is pretty good on this. The top three is pretty strong offensively, and I have to note this. All of our drafts were creation drafts. You just couldn't overlap any particular mons with your teammates. So yeah. After that, I kind of just wanted the ground and poisons. I picked up Glamora, another good flying resist, just a hazard setter mainly, just hazard lead, suicide lead type of mon. And Screamtail, just another bulky pivot to a lot of mons in this generation. So, like, a lot of great utility. Donphan is just the ground type. That's really why it was there. I don't really rate Donphan too much, but it'll have its matchups and has good coverage and knockoff support that this team kind of appreciates. And then Wo-Chien, probably the mon that I'm most excited to use in the games I do play in PGP. This mon is pretty baller. Gets access to, doesn't really get like great recovery, no like synthesis or anything, but it does get like Giga Drain and Leech Seed. Knockoff. Ruination's really good. This thing's just really fat on the special side, but then it has the, I believe, Ruins of Tablets as its ability, which cuts your opponent's attack by a third. So that's pretty cool. And then we had 1 point Fletchinder because that's all the points we had left. And yeah, so that's my team. Kind of just covered why I made it. I kind of just used leftover mons. I kind of let everyone else draft for me. But yeah, this is kind of this was my team. But yeah, looking at the matchup in particular, yeah, the mirror is pretty annoying. I'll have to find a way to get around Annihilate. The Greninja could also be pretty annoying as well. I have to find some insurance to not lose to that mon, especially if it's like Specs Battle Bond. I'll have to be able to at least take a hit or kind of play in a way to prevent him from just sweeping me. Ursaluna is not too bad. I can use Wo-Chien or like a Donphan, for example, to kind of check Ursaluna. I don't think Donphan really checks it, especially if it's Guts. Neither does Wo-Chien, but I'll at least be able to force it out or get Chip to put it in a range where it's revengeable by everything. Zapdos is pretty annoying for this team, but Thunder should be able to abuse it and also kind of set up on it. Glamora as well. But it could be pretty annoying for my Annihilate. Uxie, I expect maybe like a fast Uxie here if he does bring it, like fast rocks, but fast Encore in particular. Could also run Reflect on it as well. Yeah, Fortress, I don't really expect Fortress to come. I just don't think it does anything here. Doesn't really beat anything, gets abused by a lot. Yeah, Bramblegast, I don't think is going to come either. I don't think that mon has any place in this matchup, especially into like Wo-Chien, Greninja, Annihilate. And then Quillfish Hisui, I actually do think he brings this. I think this is going to be his Annihilate check with Poison Point and a Violite. He's definitely not running Intimidate into Annihilate, so yeah. pretty scary team. I think for the most part, I just need to find ways to check his own Annihilate, and then make sure I don't lose to opposing Battle Bond Greninja. The rest of the Mons I feel like are pretty checkable and revengeable, like Ursaluna, Zapdos. Zapdos in particular, I can win with Thundurus. That Mon pretty much 6-0s this team, unless he brings like Terra Ground or Terra Electric Annihilate, which I kind of expect him to bring. So we'll play around that and build around that. So this is my build. Just covered briefly, but we have Annihilate with Punching Glove, Inner Focus over Defiant, because again, I don't think he brings Intimidate. So I'm bringing Inner Focus, and that's mainly for Dark Pulse or like extra sensory Greninja. And Terra Steel with Drain Punch, Rage Fist, Taunt, and Bulk Up. So I originally was Terra Electric on this set to take on like Zapdos Hurricane and Thunderwave or Thunderbolt Discharge, whatever. I can take its stabs pretty well and kind of abuse it and set up on it. And then I was looking into my friend Kyle brought up Poison Point and Quillfish, because I originally didn't even think Quillfish was gonna come, and then he was like, "Oh, what about Poison Point?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, that's really annoying." I already had Punching Glove on the set, but I can't really stop Barb Barrage from poisoning me, and that's really obnoxious and will kind of just lead to me being worn down and easily revenged. So I changed it to Terra Steel, and I retained Punching Glove for Static Zapdos because I just didn't want to deal with paralysis. Plus, Punching Glove gives me basically protective pads on Drain Punch and Rage Fist, and it boosts both of them because they're punchy moves. I confirmed that with the calc. I didn't want to Google it or anything, so the calc said it boosted both of them, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna run that. But yeah, Taunt, Bulk Up, Taunt with some speed investment, just so I can outspeed like a bulkier Quillfish. I can haze him. If he was faster than whatever, then Drain Punch was still gonna do more damage to him because he wasn't invested. And then if he brought fast Uxie, I'll have to play around that differently, but the Steel at least allows me to just completely check Psychic moves, U-turn, whatever. I'll have to be careful around Ursaluna because I'll need that chipped before I attack it, because I don't know if he'll be like Choppleberry or something fat and I just can't kill it, and then he Earthquakes me, and I don't really want to deal with that. And then obviously if he was like opposing Annihilate, I'll have to see what he is as well. But this is Terra Preview, so they'll know I'm Steel, and I'll obviously know what type his Annihilate is at Preview. But yeah, Glamora, my next set, Rocky Helmet, a lot of defense and some speed, just to outspeed. Well, yeah, I think I have enough speed to outspeed. What was it? I think Annihilate, Creeping something. I don't remember. I think I just mainly ran speed on it, just to be fast. I don't expect him to be. I think it was Adamant, Annihilate, or Adamant Quillfish. No, I think it was one of those mons. But regardless, I ran speed on it just so I'm faster than things, so I can Toxic and Spike stuff, especially on Uxie or Annihilate mainly. Power Gem is just there for Zapdos, and then if he was like a Terra, like Electric, and I was able to Toxic him, Venoshock would be able to kind of beat down Annihilate quicker. So I thought that was pretty cool, but it's mainly here with like, and then Corrosion as well, I can get around Toxicking the Quillfish and Fortress. But yeah. But Rocky Helmet is also good for Annihilate. This is my main pivot to Annihilate. Could also pivot into Quillfish as well, so I can get up spikes and start Toxicking things. So it's pretty good pivot. And then Screamtail, just with boots. You can see I put random Terra types just to kind of throw them off because I thought it was funny. HP investment, obviously worse for Wish, but I didn't really need that much investment in HP. 220 Spadef, that just allowed me to take hits from, I think, Timid, Hydro Pump, like Specs Hydro Pump from Greninja. I can take 2 of them since I have heavy duty boots. Encore was just there for like setup Ape. It was also good for, I mean, if I needed to like lock Zapdos or Uxie into something passive, so I can set up a Thundurus. Wish was just good. Gleam was just there to hit Greninja. Could hit Quillfish, basically hit everything, even like Ape, forced it to Terra and stuff. And then Stealth Rocks, I just want to get rocks up. But yeah, that's Screamtail. Thunderous, we brought Thunderbolt, Grass Knot, Agility, Nasty Plot. Basically has enough bulk to live a Specs Ice Beam from Battle Bond Greninja. If it's Protean, it kills us anyway, so I didn't bother. We can take Zapdos, hits pretty well, like Hurricane does nothing. I believe Heat Wave is like, if he's offensive, is barely, like, it's a roll heavily in our favor, like 90% chance that it doesn't 3-shot us. But if it's bulky, it's definitely not. And then I just ran Dual Dance because it's pretty easy to do that versus him. I can just plot to break or like agility late game and win with that. And Grass Knot is pretty good into Ursaluna because it just one-shots it at +2 if he's like max Spadef after rocks. And I didn't want to run Focus Blast because that's a cringe move. You can miss that pretty easily. And then he could also run Bulletproof, so there was no point. I was running Grass Knot. It doesn't miss, and it's far more accurate. Wo-Chien. Boots. A lot of HP, some defense investment, a lot of Spadef. I think it was just mixed defensive for like Greninja, so I could take like Ice Beam hits from it as well. I think like Specs Ice Beam doesn't 2-shot unless he's Protean again. But if he's Protean, then I'm not really too concerned because then he's not Battle Bond, and I'm fine with that. And then this is just my Ursaluna pivot. I can take Earthquakes, I can take Body Slams. Facade would just, I can live one Facade if he's Guts boosted, but at least like it forces him to switch and take hazards. I can like Ruination, I can knock off the Zapdos boots, I can knock off the Violite, knock off leftovers or whatever. Ruination's really good into this team, just it doesn't have a lot of good recovery. Leech Seed is good as well because then I can use it. Set up a Leech Seed on like something passive and then kind of pivot out and heal that way if they stay in. And then Leaf Storm was just good to just blow back Greninja, because Giga Drain doesn't one-shot Greninja, so I wanted something to kill. Grass Knot wasn't going to, really, so I just went with Leaf Storm, since all my other moves are not special anyway, so it didn't matter. But yeah, that's Wo-Chien. And then Greninja, just Specs, Max, Hydro Pump, Dark Pulse, Surf, Water Shuriken with Battle Bond. This can also just win. If I get up like Spikes and Rocks, and I get some initial chip on like Uxie, not even on Zapdos really, and then like if Greninja maybe took some more damage, pretty sure Hydro Pump just straight up 6-0s his entire team, so it really just depends on Annihilate as well. But yeah, that's basically the team. Pretty straightforward. I have like pretty relatively easy ways to check his Mons, wear them down with hazards, since his removal is a Fortress and I have an Annihilate that can abuse that pretty easily. But yeah, so here is the matchup here. Mustang is obviously on the far side view, but he ended up benching his Zapdos and the Brambleghast. So he ended up bringing useless Fortress. I think it's useless in this matchup. And he benched Zapdos, which was far superior into this matchup, in my opinion. But yeah, my idea was just I wanted hazards, so I decided to lead with Screamtail as he leads with his Uxie. So I just set rocks. He probably sets up rocks himself, which he does. I don't want him like T-waving or something, so I can kind of abuse him setting up rocks. So I go for Encore, but he has a Mental Herb, which is nice to know. Like, we wasted his item at the very least, but he brings in Fortress. I'm not going to let him spin, so I'll just bring in Annihilate. If he wants the Volt Switch, he boosts my Rage Fist, which is okay. Yeah, let me pause this real quick. I forgot to show this, but it doesn't really pop up here well on the replay, but this is in order going down the list. So yeah, I'm obviously Terra Steel, but his Annihilate is Terra Electric, as you can see here. So I was right. It was going to be Electric or Ground. He brought Electric, which is alright. Definitely not Ground into Greninja, so Electric made the most sense. I can still try to wear that thing down. But yeah, he doubles back out of Fortress into Uxie. I don't want to like Terra yet, since I want to retain the Ghost typing for Fortress Rapid Spin. And I don't know if he has like T-Wave or something or not, so I just go back into Screamtail. I don't really care if this gets T-Wave, but he goes for Encore. So I wasn't too sure if this thing was fast or not, because fast Encore is better for setup Annihilate, but if he was slower, then that Encore turn made sense. So I'm like, is he slow or is he fast? And like, I wasn't sure, so I was like, maybe I can try and play in a way where I don't have to find out. So I just go for Dazzling Gleam just to scout, and he shows me like max speed, like almost max speed. I don't know if he's potentially has some speed on it, so again, I'm just gonna have to play it in that way. He goes Ursaluna, and I just go hard Wo-Chien, and Earthquake bounces. So I just go. I could have went for Ruination, but I decided to go for Elite Seed here. I figured if anything, he might go Fortress and try to get up Hazards or Quillfish, and I'd rather be able to have Elite Seed up on that and kind of punish him from staying in. Which he does. He goes for Spikes, and we heal up Annihilate from those Rocks chips, and we get more chip on Fortress. He goes into Quillfish here, and I had the idea of maybe going for a bulk up on Fortress, but I wasn't too sure yet on the Uxie speed. So I actually go for Taunt here in case he does go Uxie, because then I can taunt him and block him from clicking Encore, and then I could potentially bulk up. So I go for Taunt, but he goes hard Quillfish, which proves to me that this is his check or whatever. So I'm not staying in because I don't want to set up yet. So I go hard Glamora, as he actually doubles out into Uxie. The reason I went Glamora is because I wanted to get my Spikes. I didn't want to set up yet without Spikes. Spikes is a lot better at taking down the Annihilate for me and wearing down Ursaluna and stuff. But then he went Uxie instead of staying in with Quillfish, so that's pretty annoying. So I could set up Spikes here, but I kind of want to know what he is, and if he is fast, he will be faster than me, and I kind of want to know that information for Annihilate. So I actually just stay in and go for Toxic, because if I put this on a timer or anything else, like, especially, like, I mean, if Fortress comes in, whatever, but like, Uxie, if he is slow, I've got a Toxic off on this, and slowly it will kill itself, which will benefit my net. So I just go for Toxic. Could have went for Spikes, but whatever. But he goes for Encore, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to save this for Annihilate, like a sack later, so I'm just going to go hard Screamtail again. He's probably going to click U-turn, which he does, and you see he brings out Ursaluna this time. So I figured he might try to make a read into Wo-Chien, but I don't really have another switch in, so let's go Wo-Chien. He goes for Gunk Shot and gets the poison. Obviously a bit annoying, but I know he probably doesn't want to take random chips, so he's probably going to switch. And I go for Ruination here. And now Uxie is basically close to dead. If he stays in, he's going to die to Rock, so he wouldn't be able to switch anyways. And I don't want him getting a free U-turn off on Wo-Chien, because then he can bring back basically any, like Annihilate or something, or Saloon or whatever, or even Greninja. And I don't have the Spikes up yet or whatever, so I actually just go hard Uxie here. I don't want him like doing anything, whatever. But he goes for Psyshock. So he did decide to stay in, and he wanted to actually die. I guess trade a death there or have Wo-Chien in, because then he probably would have been able to get his Greninja in and get a Battle Bond boost. So that's why I clicked Psyshock into my Dark type. But this is in. I don't even grab the kill here because I'd rather him just die, but I feel like it might have been smarter to click Gleam, because then he won't have like a random sack for Greninja later, and I don't have to deal with that. So probably not the greatest play, and he gets in Ursaluna anyways, so at this point I'm like, okay, I'm just going to sack Wo-Chien. I don't really want to stay in. I have a random Wish up. I could go Annihilate if he wants to predict that, but if he just clicks Gunk Shot, then I don't really want to go Annihilate and get randomly poisoned before I'm Terra Steel, so I just sack Wo-Chien here, and he makes the weirdest play. I don't know why. He just sacked Uxie for some reason, so he lost his Greninja sack, so and Wo-Chien is healed, so I don't know what's going on. He brings in Fortress. I'm not letting him spin, so I just go into my Annihilate here. As you can see, his timer is getting progressively lower. Rapid Spin does nothing, and at this point, I just go for Bulk Up. There's not much he can do. At this point, I'm going to commit to the Terra. I'm just not going to worry about getting Spikes up. I think if I get the +2, I'll be fine. But I am faster and taunt him. And yeah, it's kind of a useless set now. So I can just go for Bulk Up again. And yeah, I go for Drain Punch and heal up. And yeah, at this point, I basically I have to know what his Annihilate set is, and I'll have to taunt Quillfish whenever it comes in or whatever. And if he goes Greninja, if he's like Specs Greninja, Hydro Pump doesn't really destroy us, and we'll just Drain Punch all the health back anyways. So he does go Annihilate here. I know it's Terra Electric. I debated maybe going for Taunt here, but if he's like Choice Scarf, Close Combat would just nuke me, and then he can just two-shot me. So I'd rather just get damage. So I just go for Rage Fist here. Obviously, I have no boosts, but +2 Rage Fist is the same as like one-hit non-boosted Rage Fist. So I know I'm going to be doing like decent damage. And at least I force him to Terra at the very least. But yeah, he could have been like Terra. Yeah, I didn't know what he was going to click here. I assume with Electric, though, he was probably just some setup set. And Taunt was fine, but I didn't want him to be like randomly Scarfed and maybe he had like Final Gambit and to like kind of take out my Annihilate. So yeah, I figured if he did go for Final Gambit here and he traded, he'd lose his Annihilate, and all he has left is Ursaluna, Greninja, and Quillfish. And I can just win with Greninja and Thundurus. Like, there was not much he could do at that point in time. I probably would have just went into... well, I guess opposing Greninja could be scary, but if he was like Specs, like Protean, then I would have been fine, because then I can just go Greninja, and then I can kind of just click Surf and just win the game later on, or even Hydro Pump or whatever. If I went Thundurus, if he was Battle Bond, he didn't even kill me with Ice Beam, and then I would just click Thunderbolt or Agility or whatever. If you want Ursaluna, whatever. I had ways to get around that end game, so I figured it was fine trading with Annihilate here. So I just go for Rage Fist. He clicks Terra, and he's not Scarf, and we do 44%. I don't know what his bulk investment is, but it must be tragic. I just go for Rage Fist again. I'm still out of range of Specs Hydro Pump, so it doesn't matter. He goes hard into Quillfish, and I just click Drain Punch. Yeah, and this is looking like GG. It's Annihilate. It's an Annihilate moment. Yeah, absolutely nothing for this, I guess, somehow. He let Uxie go down. He brought Useless Fortress instead of Zapdos, and then decided not to put spikes on Quillfish or something. I don't know. But yeah, you'll see this Greninja is not what I thought it was going to be. It's not even Specs. It might be like Mystic Water or Banded, but yeah, it's definitely Battle Bond though. But it's a physical Greninja, and it dies, so Annihilate just wins the game, and we win 6-0. And my game ended up putting us up 3-0 in the series, and we proceeded to win every game in the entire series. So we did end up 7-0ing PICHU, but yeah, great debut week for me, for my team, for Trick House. I very much enjoyed building with this. Kind of unfortunate I didn't get to use Thundurus and Greninja. I was looking forward to using those mons, but Annihilate is always just broken as usual. And then Wo-Chien holding it down, the GOAT. Yeah, hope you guys enjoyed, and keep rooting for Trick House to three-peat this season. And hopefully I play another game. If not, well, yeah, if not, I won't see you again. But if I do, I'll see you for the next PGP video.